on this computer.
Yes.
Hello, Esther. And for all of those of you who watch this tutorial at a later date, I hope you are excited to learn the basics of After Effects. So we are going to start with 3 fundamental After Effects concepts. Concept number 1 is keying. Concept number 2 is keyframing. And concept number 3 is masking. So, and Esther, feel free to stop me if you have any questions throughout.
Okay.
We are going to figure out how to take, all right, let's see, wait. Okay, so you can see, can you see this, can you see this video as I play it?
Are you playing a video? I just see like the files.
All right, oh, all right, yeah, let me do this. So one second, Zoom audience and Esther. Share screen, movies and TV. Okay, so we're gonna take this, this, and this in order and combine them in After Effects to create this, where I'm in Paris and someone shoots a rocket at me and I explode and am gone. Did that work? Did you see all 4 of those videos, Esther? Awesome.
Yeah, I saw everything.
So how would you go about creating such an effect, do you think? Or do you yes.
So I guess there's like that like you in front of the green screen, so that you'd import that into After Effects and put in the background of Paris?
Yes, precisely. Yeah, you get it. You get it. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm actually going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open After Effects and I'm going to create a new composition. So let me just do a new project. Don't save that. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. After Effects. Okay, so do you see After Effects here?
Yeah.
Great. So we're going to make a new composition, and I think you can see this here. So we're just going to call it Kobe blows up in Paris. And we want just a standard HD composition, 30 frames a second. And so I have those 3 videos that I showed you earlier. So I'm just going to import them into After Effects by putting them there in this project panel, right? So this right here is the plate. This is the backdrop that we're going to use. And it's just a normal video of Paris that I found on some free stock footage website. And yeah, it's cool. Then I recorded this just a few minutes ago, where we don't need the audio. It's just me saying, wow, I'm so happy to be in Paris. And oh, let me show you what I just did. So that starts there, and these are layers. It's kind of like Photoshop, and we want that to start a little bit later. We want it to start there because right here I'm just kind of adjusting myself. We want it to start there. So we're just going to drag that over to that point. And so now it starts there. So beautiful. Right? So now what we want to do is get rid of everything besides me so that I can be in Paris. And there are two aspects of that. And feel free to stop me if you have any questions.
Okay. It makes sense so far.
Great. Okay, so the first thing you probably want to do is get rid of everything that isn't this green screen. And so that's we're going to do by making a mask. And the way we do that is, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. H I'm zooming in by just scrolling my mouse. and H is the hand, so I can like move this around. And what I'm gonna do now is, there's a bunch of ways to make masks, like literally 100. There's the easiest one would probably to just be take this rectangle tool and just go like that, and see suddenly that is the only thing that I'm seeing. But I probably want a slightly more precise mask for the sake of this tutorial. And I'm going to use this thing called the pen tool, but there's unlimited ways. And so the pen tool is, it allows you to just make a mask of whatever shape you want. And so what I'm doing is I'm just taking the pen tool and I'm using it to create the mask that I want, so that, yeah. And the feet, right, that's a problem because that's not going to be included in the key. So just for simplicity's sake, I mean, if we really wanted, we could do this and keep the feet. But normally what you'll want to do if you want to include feet is you're going to want to have some green screen on the ground so that you can key out all this stuff and you don't have to deal with masks. Masks are, again, you'll see a lot more tedious than the process of actually keying, right? So now we're there and we have our mask, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very exciting. And there's a bunch of stuff you can do to the mask, which we can get into. These are the different mask parameters. But basically that's really all we need for this purpose. And so, yeah, there we go. We have our masks. Now what we need is to key. And keying is super easy in After Effects. All you have to do is go keying, key light. This is the easiest. There's, again, a bunch of different ways to key depending on the type of key. This is the easiest way to key. All you go is you do key light. So now if you look here under effects, here, key light is now basically the equivalent of a node that was added to this layer. So, and there, boom, key. Obviously it's not a great key because the lighting wasn't perfect and you can see that there's this stuff here, but did you see all I did? I just pressed screen color, right? So that's what I want. I want to key all that stuff out. So I'm press that eyedropper tool, boom, keyed out. And the key is pretty nice. We might want a little bit more of a key. So then because you can see there's some stuff that like persisted. So we don't want that. We want that out. So I'm just going to turn up the screen gain a little bit. So if I turn it up like a ton, you'll see I'm actually like 820. I'm like losing data on me. We don't want that much, but at like 125, just a slight, maybe 150. You won't really lose anything, and the key looks great. All right, so Kobe's now in Paris. And I'm enjoying. Very fun. Yeah.
Best trip ever. No plane flight necessary.
No, it's so, right? Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So easy, so easy. Anyone can do that. And people don't understand that's how easy it is to key with After Effects, but it is, and it's amazing. So just to make Kobe fit in, just to make me fit in a little bit better into this scene, right? We'll probably want to move me down there a little bit. See how that looks. Wow. So I'm pretty close. Maybe I'll move myself up a little bit. Maybe I'll be a little smaller. And the way I change that, I can just change the scale right there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is basically how you can, so this layer has all of these different parameters that you can adjust. Super easy, super nice. This is the Paris layer. You can turn it on or off, turn Kobe on or off. And yeah, so there he is. He's looking good. Now we want him to explode, right? So, all right, ignore his audio. It's just him being excited. So I just turned the audio off right there, but you can turn that on. And so if we want him to explode, any questions thus far?
No, makes sense.
Great. Yeah, you got it. You totally got it. And so next we're going to add the explosion, right? So this is that other boom. So we have that effect. And what's great about, if you have just basic effects, you want explosion, smoke, fire, rain. Most of this stuff you can just find on YouTube for free. Just search green screen explosion. And so if you remember, right, how easy it is to just get rid of all of the green there and just keep this explosion, we just go key light, boom, gone. I can do that a little slower, because so yeah, eyedrop tool, boom. And then we can move that around, place it where we want. And then you can see this is this layers panel right here. It's kind of like a little timeline. So we probably want it to be a little bigger. Well, we want Kobe to have some time before he explodes. So that is probably a good point at which he should explode, but we want it to be convincing, which means we'll probably have to make it a little bigger, right? So that it covers him up. And then we want him to incinerate because of the explosion, which introduces us to the next concept, which is called keyframing. And so in order to have him, we want him incinerated at this point right here. Like right there at that point, if he disappears, that's great. So opacity, that's if he's transparent or not. Currently, he is 100% not transparent. So I'm hiding that explosion. So I'm going to make a key. So that put a key right there. So at that point, he's 100% transparent or opaque. And now we're going to move over one keyframe or one frame. We went from that. And we're just going to go 0. So now you see over the course of, it's a couple frames, he gradually disappears, right? Boom. So, and he's disappearing at the point where the explosion should be getting him, which means, so he's there. So the explosion wasn't really fast enough, right? He's like, why is he looking like that? We should probably make him a little smaller, and then it might be sufficiently compelling at that point. But let's see. Wow, there he is. He's having fun. He's in Paris. And boom. Let's move him down just a little bit, just so that all right, great. Yeah, explode, he's gone, right? The other thing, so any questions thus far? And so keyframing works with all these different effects. Every effect you could possibly want. So, oh yeah, sorry, was that a question?
No. I was just saying, yeah, that makes sense.
Great. And so we're going to do one more thing just to kind of tie it all together, right? We have all these disparate types of footage. We are going to just combine, we're going to add this adjustment layer and do a color correction over everything with this Lumetri color node. So that's just, if you use Premiere, it's the same thing as that. We'll just do blue ice. So that looks good. And so now this adjustment layer is on top of all these other layers. So there he is, and he explodes and he's gone. Oh, and so that was one more thing. Let's also, you see how it just goes boom, suddenly it's gone because that video just ends. Mm-hmm. So the final keyframe we're going to do is change the opacity towards the end and make it gradually disappear. Boom. So let's watch it now. So Kobe is excited. He's enjoying the sights, and then he blows up and is gone. And the smoke gradually fades, doesn't look too jarring. And yeah, so those are the basics of After Effects. And to export, we now want to put that into our project so we can add sound and do all that other stuff we want to do. You can export in a couple ways. If you want a lossless, you can just add to render queue and render it directly out of After Effects. But what I would recommend doing is add to Adobe Media Encoder queue, because then you can export it in whatever format is best for you.
Cool.
Great. Any questions?
No. I think I have done this amount before. So it's just a refresher. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Great. Well, if you want, I can send you and everyone who's watching this, I can send you those files. You can see if you can make that on your own, and whatever seems like something you'd want to do. If you want, just, I guess, email me. You all have my email. So yeah, that's the basics of After Effects. And I think in the next tutorial, we'll probably also talk about After Effects. So we'll get
like advanced compositing. Like, what does that mean?
Advanced compositing. So there's a lot more like that. We are in, so where it gets, so I'll show you why this is not considered advanced compositing. Because let's look at this, this piece of footage right here. This particular, right? So this is, this is I just set up my iPhone to record this, right? It's a very simple, the camera isn't moving. Once the camera starts moving, things get pretty complex, because in order to ensure that the background moves similarly to how the foreground moves, you have to take it into account a variety of factors. So I guess that might be what we talk about next time, is how to actually make the background move like you would, or let's say the camera is actually moving, then we're going to need some camera movement. At that point, it gets a little complex, but there's also a lot of other things you can do. I mean, the potential of After Effects is pretty not limitless, but there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. A lot of really cool stuff, and a lot of cool effects that are a lot of fun. Like, you could turn me into a cartoon. It just takes a little while to render. And yeah, so yeah, and rendering generally, if you're doing that, you want to adjust that to, yeah, you just want to make all those adjustments. Oh, you want to change full to probably quarter. And yeah, there you go. You have cartoon Kobe in Paris. Anyways, you get it. I'll figure out what everyone else is interested in for the next tutorial, and it'll probably involve the advanced camera tracking in After Effects, which you can do. You can do that in After Effects. You can do it in Nuke. And personally, I think After Effects makes a lot more sense than using Nuke, because Nuke is extremely expensive for students or independent filmmakers, because everyone has the Creative Cloud, I feel like, and Nuke is really expensive. It's also a little bit harder to use if you just want to be doing simple, if what you need to do is simple. I have yet to find really anything in Nuke that you can't do in After Effects. I'm sure there are things, but that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Okay. So do most people just do their work on After Effects in this class?
I honestly, I think it depends, right? If you want to be a professional compositor, you definitely need to know Nuke, because that's industry standard. But if you're just an independent filmmaker trying to make a film, After Effects is great. And for a lot of students in production with not a lot of experience with using pretty dense softwares, or working with a node-based workflow, I'd say just use After Effects, because it's so intuitive, it's so user friendly. Anyone can do it, and it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, I think After Effects is pretty easy to use. It's like Premiere,
totally, and
or Photoshop.
and that's another thing I might show next time is the way to, you can just right click on a file in Premiere and move it into After Effects and work in between those two softwares.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions, Esther?
No, I think it's self-explanatory for now. Yeah.
Great. Well, if you want these files, let me know. Send me a quick email, and I'll upload them and share them. And that goes for everyone else watching this tutorial at a later time. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming, Esther.
Sure. Thanks for, I guess, explaining it to us.
Yeah, I hope this was interesting.
Yeah, it was a good refresher. I haven't touched After Effects in several years, so good to like jog my brain. Yeah.
All right. Well, great. I'm glad. I hope it also helps you and everyone else understand how, just think about, it gives you some reference in terms of what you'll easily be able to do, which will inform your project ideas.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming, Esther, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes. Thanks, Kobe.
No worries. All right. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye, class also.